What's up, everybody? Um, yeah, I was talking to my cousin recently, earlier today, and over this past week, and she has diverticulitis. She's been diagnosed with diverticulitis, and it's similar but different to Crohn's. But I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease in 2010, and I've pretty much healed myself. It's been years since I've had to take medication. I'm not um, I'm not ill. I feel better than I've felt, almost in my entire life. Um, Definitely healthier. I would say my 20s, obviously, I was maybe physically fit and had more energy and stuff like that. But I mean, even then, I didn't eat healthy, and I was limited on energy. I had acne issues and other things that, yeah, in some ways, I feel better now than I did even in my 20s. So I thought I would just share some of these things that I talked about with my cousin. um, you know, I'm not claiming that I can heal you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not licensed in any way. I'm just sharing what worked for me, and maybe it might work for you. And I thought about creating a course about this, um, as well, because a lot of people are having digestive issues these days, and it's because of the stuff they put in our foods. I mean, really, you can buy good foods. They are a little bit more expensive, but then maybe you don't need to eat as much. These days, even to go out to eat, so my cousin is eating out a lot, fast food and other stuff, because she's always on the go and always in a hurry. But the chemicals they're putting in these fast food, the preservatives, the way they make it, um, all these have an impact on your body. And so, really, I think we have a need to slow down in society into so many ways. Um, but um, I was talking about just preparation before you go out, before you know you're going to go out. Maybe cook your food in advance. Or what I've done, or what I like to do, is maybe I'll bring some fruit with me to eat, so that I know, okay, I'm going to get hungry. I know I'm going to need something to eat. Before I get to that point and I'm on the go, let me just bring some fruit with me. That's an easy option, because you don't have to cook it. It's ready to go. It's ready to eat. The other option is just preparation in advance. Or, another thing I used to do was maybe make avocado. I would just, it's not quite guacamole, but I would just mash up some avocado, put some salt and pepper in it, bring some chips, good to go. That's like a full meal for me. You could do multiple avocados if you wanted. Um, um, Recently I've been slow cooking some food. So I might slow cook some lamb. Lamb's really good for you, because a lamb is always grass fed. I think lamb is like kind of a baby animal, and so they only eat lamb. They're not quite grain fed, or, you know, I don't understand 100% understand it, because I'm not a farmer or anything. That's just what I was told, and it's kind of the conclusion that I've came to. But it's done really well for me. So, lamb and beef, grass fed, pasture raised beef, um, has been really good for me. Speaking on a spiritual level, more recently I've had trouble sleeping and other things. And so, beef or red meat is really good for grounding, anchoring in these higher frequencies that are coming in, um, and going to the gym. For me, exercising has been helpful. So, getting back to the diverticulitis, or IBS, IBD, Crohn's disease, any of these things, I think the consistent pattern, I know for me, I took antibiotics for years. And so, that obviously just obliterated my gut. Whatever was down there isn't down there anymore. Since I took it for years, I think they recommend only to take antibiotics for a few months. And most doctors only prescribe it for a few months, but it's kind of a long story as to why I took it for years and how I was able to get it and stuff. But that's kind of off the point. So healing myself, because I think I came down with this disease so that I could heal myself and then show other people the way so that they could heal themselves as well. So slow cooking food, I've been slow cooking food. It's very nourishing. I've also been adding ginger and other things. I actually got the recipe from ChatGPT, so you could do that. But again, if I create the course, maybe I could just throw all this stuff into a course, a nice, neat and tidy area that you guys can just get all this information at a glance, and you'll always have it. But you could also go to ChatGPT and tell them, hey, this is what's going on in my life, or I have dampness. How do I fix that? So one of the causes of dampness is, I think, eating cold foods, not eating seasonally. So I've been trying to eat seasonally. Right now it's the fall going into winter, and I'm in the northern hemisphere. Typically what's eaten during this time, and I don't have this memorized by heart, but it's hot foods, nourishing foods, maybe some soups, squash, whatever. I'm not necessarily eating all that, but slow cooking that food. When you cook things fast, they have a scattered energy. And when you eat that, then that scattered energy becomes a part of you. And so slow cooking is like deeply nourishing, stable energy that you're bringing into your system. The ginger will remove the dampness. Taking Bravo yogurt, for me, is replenishes that gut bacteria. I mean, there's so much I could talk about in this video, but I guess I'm not sure how much to go. I'll just talk about as much as I can. And then maybe make a second, third, fourth, whatever, how many ever videos I need to kind of layer on top of this. But because I can go in so many directions and so many ideas and different things are coming to mind. But so detoxing, I think, is a huge part of healing the gut. You know, most people don't detox. They don't even know what it is. They think, oh, I make this detox smoothie every morning and it's detoxing. Maybe, I'm not saying it isn't, but I have some methods that are, I would say, that have worked for me and work for others, such as like coffee enemas. And I've talked about it on my channel before, but the coffee enema has a sympathetic resonance with the liver that tells the liver, hey, flush all the toxins, give me everything you got, let's get it out, let's keep it moving. And when you do that over a period of time, you start to release those stagnant energies from the liver, and it starts working like it used to maybe in your 20s. In your 20s, it was able to just pump out toxins, no problem. It's young. It's like, yeah, I can do whatever, throw whatever you want at me and I can handle it. Don't worry about it. But as you get older, it's like, I can't handle this. I'm getting bogged down. I don't work like I used to. I don't function like I used to. You gotta feed me a little bit better than this. You gotta take care of your body a little bit more. You gotta start eating the right things. Or you gotta work with me, help me get back up to speed, so doing coffee enemas, having a way to flush out those toxins, I was seeing a functional medicine doctor maybe 5 years ago, and he had me on a couple different liver detox supplements, which is fine. They weren't super expensive, but they weren't cheap either. I don't know, 30, $40 a bottle or something, at least $20 per bottle. And that bottle might last you 3 weeks or something. So if you got the money, that's an option. If you don't, do the coffee enema. It's like pennies on the dollar. Once you buy the, say, $20 enema kit, you buy the coffee, you buy some blackstrap molasses, you buy some KY jelly, all that stuff kind of lasts for quite a while. The coffee enema bag is kind of like a one-time thing. You only need it once. The coffee, the KY jelly, and the blackstrap molasses you have to replenish periodically, but for what you get out of it, I think that's a cheaper option, and I think it's probably more efficient, honestly. Another one is the colon sweep. So you can buy this particular. I don't have this. Is why a course would be good, because I can get all this information and put it down, but I don't have it right in front of me. I have it in a cabinet somewhere. But you mix this powder stuff with apple juice, and then you drink it, and then you drink some water after that, and you do that 3 times a day. And what this powder does, it's a natural thing, comes from maybe a fiber of a plant or something like that. It expands in your gut, and it's like a sponge. It's like scrubs the inside of your colon as it goes through, and then it kind of cleans everything out. And if you've never done anything before, you might, when you poop and you go to excrete this waste, it might even look like a snake skin, because it's, again, cleaning out the inside of your intestines and pushing it out. And so you've got all this accumulated gunk on the inside of your intestines that makes it difficult for you to digest things. If you were taking vitamin supplements, it makes it difficult to absorb those nutrients, because you've got all this gunk that is clogging your intestines. It's not able to function how it normally would. And so you do the colon sweep. You do that for 5 days. It's going to clean out the bacteria in there as well, the good and the bad, the probiotics. But most people at this point have like a SIBO, which is a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or a candida overgrowth. So if you notice yourself craving bread or sugars, refined sweets, candy, sweets, pastas, bread, I'm naming stuff twice, but those kind of things, those are usually an indication of A, parasites, or B, SIBO, or 3, candida, in my experience. And so cleaning that out and then replenishing it with good probiotic bacteria. I recommend Bravo yogurt. It is a bit pricey, but there's nothing else in the market that compares to it. It's got over 350 strains of bacteria, probiotics in it. And there's been ways where I've been able to extend the life of that. Meaning, so, right, it's $400 for a 13-week supply of Bravo yogurt. But I've been able to, when I create the first batch, I can take some of that yogurt, throw it into a new batch, create a new batch with it. So I boil the milk, wait till it cools down, throw in some new yogurt, some of the yogurt that I just made, throw in some colostrum that I bought from the store, mix that together and let it ferment again for 24, 36 hours. And then I can do that up to 4 times or 3 times, right? You have the first batch, you make a second batch, a third batch, and a fourth batch, and then you start over. So you could really potentially turn that 13-week supply into a 13-month supply if needed, which is a year. So maybe you got to buy it twice a year, because it takes years to heal the gut, like at least a year or two to heal the gut. And I'm still on that journey right now, because I've learned, I've had trials and tribulations along the way. Maybe at some point where I was on the diet, off the diet, didn't quite know what to eat. For a long time, I was making smoothies, which was fine. But then at a certain point, I kind of got sick of the smoothies, but also I would drink smoothies in the wintertime, like it didn't matter. And now I'm eating more seasonally. And I think it's really important to eat seasonally for your body, because it's expecting a certain type of food during a certain type of year. In the summer, you might want to eat less meats and eat more fruits. So you're eating kind of lighter. In the winter, like I said, maybe more like a bone broth, soups, slow cooked food. In the wintertime, I'm not sure. I'll have to get there. I'm not there yet, because I've just started recently eating seasonally, but it's working for me. I love it. It's definitely the way to go. I mean, of course, if you're in a place like Florida or near the equator, and you only have like 1 or 2 seasons, hot and hotter, I'm not sure. I guess you could probably eat fruit and vegetables or whatever year round. I can't say for sure. I'd have to look into that. But for the people that have 4 seasons, I would definitely recommend. And so I think I've been following the TCM, the traditional Chinese medicine way of eating. It could be Ayurvedic too, but eating seasonally. So that's another thing. I mean, with the diverticulitis and stuff, so the first step before all of this, I suppose, would probably be a parasite cleanse. Get rid of the parasites. They're absorbing your nutrition that you need, whether it's from supplements or food. Either way, it's getting eaten up by them, and then they're just overpopulating. If you go to a traditional Western medicine doctor, they're going to tell you it's okay to have parasites. It's perfectly normal. Everyone has them. No, it's not. It's not perfectly normal. It's not going to kill you, but it's definitely not making you better. And parasites can spread and move to different parts of the body. So I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to be real. Like, this is my experience with parasites. Everyone has them. I had them. I do a cleanse about every 6 months. So that would be the first step. And then I'm getting a lot of this as well from Penny Kelly. So if you have heard of her, or if you want to look her up, that's fine. She has a book called Getting Well from the Soil to the Stomach. I highly recommend buying that book and reading it, implementing it. When I read it, I couldn't put it down. I was like, wow, this is so fascinating. She's so knowledgeable. A lot of my information is coming from a hodgepodge of different sources, though. But I think most of it is coming from her. Some of it from ChatGPT, others just from experience, like I said, with my functional medicine doctor, or learned experience, other things. I've tried so many things. And so I think a lot of people think, oh, you need me to eat healthy, or I should eat healthy. That's how I'm going to fix my gut. Yes, but a lot of people don't know what that means, including myself. I thought, oh, I need to eat vegetables. Maybe I need to eat raw vegetables. Wrong. Bad idea. Um, you need to eat foods that are soft on the digestive tract. Even though the vegetables might be cooked, maybe even they're mushy, it's um, it's not bad. I just don't recommend it. Um, in my own experience, I want the vegetables. Even at one point, I was a vegetarian and tried eating like sprouts and different. And I felt good, but I didn't feel how I feel now, which is better. So, maybe eating rice or sweet potatoes as a side, and then meat as your portion. Um, it could make you fat or something, depending on your digestion and how much you eat, how quick your metabolism is, or whatever. Um, but you can always reduce the portions to whatever works for you, just so long as it's filling. But this is only temporary. I mean, for the next year or so. And if you're switching from fast food to this kind of a diet, or fast food and eating out and a mixture of different things, you're probably going to lose weight just off of that, because there's so much sodium and preservatives and other things in fast food that will add the weight to you. We're talking about eating something that's natural. Um, it doesn't have the um, if you're eating the grass fed, pasture raised type of meats, they don't have the antibiotics, which usually tend to make you gain weight. They don't have the added hormones, which might mess with your hormones. Um, if you're eating the rice, I don't know if it has to be organic. I don't know if there is a such thing as organic rice. I think all rice is organic. Don't quote me on that. I've just been eating rice. I don't think it's organic. But I, yeah, so I've been eating the rice. It's been really good on my stomach. It tastes good either. I wasn't grown up. I didn't grow up eating rice. I know some cultures, Asian or Indian cultures, love rice, and that's like a big part of their staple in their diet. But for Americans, at least in my culture, we don't eat a ton of rice. But I actually enjoy eating rice. It's not bad. It doesn't have much flavor. I add some salt and pepper to it. I can even add some oil. Like, let's say I wanted to get some omega-3s in my diet, or um, I'm trying to think of the other oils. But yeah, omega-3s. So there's Udo's oil. You get the 3, 6, and 9 omega fatty acids. Um, you can add that to the rice, as well as the salt and pepper. Ghee is really good for getting that digestive fire going. Meaning, some people's, especially if you eat a lot of cold foods, if you eat a lot of, drinking cold water, ditch the cold water, ice water, any of that. Just drink regular water, lukewarm, uh, room temperature water is what I'd suggest, because your body has to compensate for it. I mean, if you're drinking tea or something hot, I think it's okay, especially in the wintertime. Um, and in the summertime, of course, it's okay to drink cold. But just keep that in mind, the seasonality, and what you're eating and drinking, um, and the temperatures of those. But ideally, anything above a certain temperature and below a certain temperature, your body has to compensate to bring that up to its internal temperature. And so that's kind of wasting resources in a way. The more even keel you can keep it, the more closer to your body's temperature you can get it, right? So slightly warm, I would say even warmer than room temperature, because what our bodies burn at 98.6 degrees, generally a healthy person. But if you can whatever you're consuming, if you can keep it in that temperature range, again, unless it's summertime, I think that it would be beneficial for your body. So parasite cleanse first, maybe coffee enemas, colon sweep, really organizing your diet again to eat certain foods seasonally, going to maybe a meat and rice diet, eating that, eating the higher quality meats, eating the rice, all that. If you did just that, and not saying you have to do it all in one day or all at once, you would be on the way to rapid recovery. When I tell you my, I almost said gynecologist, my gastroenterologist, I couldn't remember the name. My gastroenterologist, we got into so many arguments because we just disagreed on so many things. I mean, the way that the Western medical system, the way they've taught doctors about things, they don't look at the whole body. They look at a specific area of it. And how can you, it's a whole ecosystem. That's like looking at a lake that's evaporating. What you're saying, well, we just need to add more water. No, you don't. There's something that's missing in this ecosystem where the water keeps disappearing or keeps going somewhere. I don't know if that's a good example. It's something I just came up with, but the body is an ecosystem. You can't just say, of course, if your liver's failing and you need a liver transplant, well then, yeah, you're probably going to need the transplant, but that's not going to fix the issue if it wasn't like a DNA type of thing where like your body's just prone to failure. If it failed for some other reason, for being bogged down, for drinking too much alcohol, it's just going to happen again because you're not addressing the real issue behind it. It just buys you more time. Which I think if, these days with the organ transplants, if you're an alcoholic or any kind of substance abuser, I don't even think they'll even consider giving you an organ. There's too many people that need organs and they're not going to waste it on you because the chances of you fixing your issues are just, they're just not worth it. It's not worth the risk. Give it to somebody who needs it, who's going to utilize it to the best of their ability. I don't know. I feel like I've given so much information and we're already at 28 minutes. The last thing I already talked about was just the Bravo yogurt. So, between all these things, okay, well, another thing, stop eating gluten. Whether it's the glyphosate or the gluten, if it's giving you leaky gut, and maybe you can't tell if it's giving you leaky gut. Another thing we talked about, maybe I should just save this for another video. I just feel like it's too much information, but was, narrowing your diet to very limited foods for like 3 weeks, and then slowly reintroducing other foods to listen to your body, to know how it reacts to those foods, right? So let's say you go on a rice and chicken diet for 3 weeks. I actually did this, where I only ate for every meal rice and chicken. I don't remember. It might have been veggies and chicken at the time. Anyways, the point is narrow it down to a very select, usually non-combative foods. So rice, generally anybody can digest rice. It's easy to digest. If let's say you had an adverse reaction to strawberries, but you've been eating strawberries for so long, you didn't know. they tasted fine. You're not listening to your body. It's not giving you any signals. Um, so I guess my point is when I did this and I took out gluten and I took out some other things, when I ate gluten again, because I was eating gluten like every day, whether I have a sandwich or I'd have some pasta or whatever, there was like gluten almost every day. So my body's used to it. It's like, I'm not even going to tell him. He's not going to listen to me anyways. He's been eating this way for however long. He's just going to continue doing that. But when I stopped for 3 weeks and I introduced it back, I noticed an immediate reaction. I was like, ooh, this doesn't feel good. I shouldn't be eating this. And particularly it was refined pasta, which is why I say it's the glyphosate, because I feel like I've eaten organic wheat bread and I didn't have any reaction or issues. So I think it's the refined gluten that typically has glyphosate and other stuff in it, GMO, what have you, that the body just doesn't like. So you reduce your diet to something, you slowly bring other foods in, you keep maybe a food diary, so you're keeping track and you're paying attention to your body when you eat something. How does it feel? And you might have to do this a couple times. You don't just do it once. And you introduce it just a little bit. You don't need to have a full-on pasta dish of pasta to reintroduce it. You just have a little side of pasta, a small amount. And if that's okay on the first meal, then maybe you eat it again for lunch and dinner or whatever. You eat it a couple more times and see, and maybe eat it for over the next couple days. So it may not happen the first time that you get a reaction from it. I did the first time, but you may not. So the gluten is a big thing. I think, especially for like the diverticulitis, leaky gut, which most of us have leaky gut. The problem with leaky gut is that food particles and different things can get into the bloodstream because they can go through that perforated or hole in the gut, and go directly in the bloodstream. Well, the body doesn't like that. The body doesn't. It usually needs to go through a process, and where the body will decide, yay or nay, is this good or no? Otherwise, we're gonna get rid of it. We're gonna kick it down to the excretion. But these days it's just bypassing that whole process, and it can get into the blood-brain barrier and affect your brain and the way it operates. So there's you could be suffering from depression or bipolar, or so many different disorders in your brain, just because your gut is allowing things into your bloodstream that shouldn't be there. And so stop eating the gluten and maybe the dairy, cheese, ice cream, sugars, sweets. Those are big problems for me. In fact, you shouldn't eat dairy and meat together. There's a type of war going on that can create inflammation. I know when I eat dairy and meat, I can get acne up here on my forehead or on my nose, the upper part of my nose, which has to do with like my small intestine, and just different things reacting down there. So hopefully this is helpful. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm simply trying to tell you what worked for me and what could work for you. So my gastroenterologist said that it was 1,000,000 to 1 that I would be able to heal myself. I healed myself. So am I that 1,000,000 to 1? Or do I know more about how the body works than she does? Through trial and error and through learning from other people how to fix the body and treat it as an ecosystem, the ecosystem that it is. It's not a one-off thing. If you get cancer in a particular area and it metastasizes, what does it do? It spreads all over the body. So, you need to fix that. You need to calm it before it spreads, but that could go for anything. If you're drinking alcohol, you're drinking too much, the liver might be the first thing to fail, but the rest of the body is probably shortly after that. So I just wanted to let people know that there are options out there, and none of this doesn't hurt to explore. Like, doing a coffee enema is not going to make your gut worse. Some of the other things that I wouldn't say make it worse, but I'd be careful about are like the colon sweep. I didn't have diverticulitis that I was aware of. I could have, but being that it expands the gut, the small intestine and the large intestine, it may put pressure on that, may feel uncomfortable. And so I definitely go easy with that. If you've got the diverticulitis, or if your case is very severe, maybe you want to start out small, but again, getting rid of the parasites, no, there shouldn't be any major issues with that. You're subtracting away what isn't good for you. Now, sometimes there can be they call it a Herxheimer effect, which is basically the die-off of the parasites and all the toxins and stuff that can kind of go into your body from that die-off. And I think I experienced that when I first did the parasite cleanse, but it wasn't severe for me. But if you're a lot older, or you've got a lot of parasites, it could be worse for you. But I think there's ways to deal with that. And again, if I was to put a course together or something, maybe I could do some more research into that, so that people don't have to feel that, because it's draining. It's like, for a moment, for a little while, like maybe a week or two, or 6 weeks or something, I don't know, 3 weeks, it makes you feel worse than better until you get to the other side. Excuse me. But again, I mean, I don't. And if you're doing the coffee enemas, the reason why those are important, even with the parasite cleanse, is so that when those toxins get into your body, that Herxheimer effect, if you're doing the coffee enemas, it won't be nearly as bad, because you're releasing it from your body. It has a place to go. But if you're not, your body's like, I don't know what to do with this. You're already overloaded, and you haven't done anything about that. So what do you want me to do about this? And so it just kind of circulates the body and makes you feel like crap. So I think that's the solution, is to the Herxheimer effect, if you're doing a parasite cleanse, is the coffee enemas. Anyways, if you have any questions, I'll leave it here, but leave it in the comments. Please like, subscribe. I'm happy to share this content. Like I said, I'm thinking about putting together a course, but I don't know if I will or when. Just because I've got to do the research and kind of put everything together in one place. Right now, I'm kind of, whatever's bouncing around in my head is kind of the way to go, but it's not a complete picture. I think I could do you guys better justice by putting a course together that has everything that I've learned, everything that, you would benefit. So I'm not, because every person's experience is going to be unique. And so, maybe even creating a chat group for people that have, that are in the program and that have done the program, and we can all support each other and inspire each other while we go through this detoxing, because it's not always fun. That's why people don't do it. But I don't think it's that bad either. Once you get into it, once you start seeing the benefits, it's like life-changing. So subscribe, like the video, leave a comment if you have any questions, or you like what I had to say, whatever. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys later. We'll put more content like this out.